Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So today, sorry if my voice sounds a little weird, I'm sick. I don't know what happened. I think I just got sick while working. I don't know. But, so if my voice sounds a little weird, that's why. But today I'm gonna be getting ready and just talking about growing up. And so if you're interested in listening to that, then go ahead and stay around. So, growing up, I have 6 brothers, but I was only raised with 4. And so I have an older brother. Well, I was raised with 2. Yeah, I was raised with 2, and then they had another one. So I had an older brother and a younger brother, and then they had another baby, and so we had another younger one. And we didn't have like the money for them to be having all these kids, and they didn't always like treat each other the best, let alone us. And it felt like they were always at each other's throats, and it made all of us be at each other's throats too. And I remember like I would go home from school and I'd be getting bullied at school for like my weight, or like from the Mexican girls, they'd be bullying me because I didn't speak Spanish, and then the white girls, they'd be bullying me because they'd be saying that I wasn't white. And so I was just getting bullied from everybody, and I'd go home and then go get bullied from my sibling, my older sibling at the time. Well, he's still my older sibling, but I go home and get like bullied, and I didn't realize that it wasn't normal for like your parents to almost make it a competition of who they love more. And I feel like that's where a lot of that rivalry growing up came from anyway, was because like they constantly wanted us to be like competing for their love and competing to be the best kid, and it made us like see each other as rivals and see it as like, oh, well, I'm not as good as my brother, I'm not as good as my sister, whatever. And so like we were constantly like being mean to each other. And as I said in a past video, like my parents were hoarders, and so it was also like a giant disaster, like mess, like we had a 2-story apartment, right? And a 2-story apartment, and we had it like paid and stuff for a while, I guess, but we got it with the help of like a program. And so we got this apartment. It was 2 stories, and then within like, I think it was 2 years, 3 years, we had destroyed that entire apartment. I mean, like the entire thing. The washer and dryer didn't work. Like the only thing that was still functional in that place was the stairs. Like it was so dirty, it was so bad. And my parents split up, like officially. That was the apartment that they left each other at. And so they left each other, and my dad, he decided to destroy the apartment even more before he left, because he was heartbroken because he lost like his whole family or whatever. And so it was already bad enough because of how we were living in it, but then it got like, it was even worse. What's wrong, Mama? Come here. It's okay. Hi, Mama. But come here. And big girl. Hi, Mama. You want to say hi, Winter? Hi. You're a good girl. Yes, I love you too. Hi. Hi. Good girl. All right, get down. Get down. Get off. Come on, Mama. Thank you. But yeah, it was like school was a battle zone for a multitude of reasons. Like when you live in a house like that that's covered in dirt like that, you go to school smelling a certain way. And both of my parents were addicted to something. My mom was a smoker, and so I went to school smelling like Marlboro Rebel Hundreds. But then my dad was an alcoholic, so I also went to school smelling like Stale 211. And sometimes we didn't have money, and so the what's it called? The power would get turned off. And so then we wouldn't have like power, wouldn't have lights or nothing, wouldn't have hot water. And so when you don't have hot water, like you don't want to shower in cold, icy cold water because you don't have any hot water at all. Sorry about that noise outside. But so it was a multitude of like things. Like we were poor, I was fat, I wasn't the most well-liked kid in my friend groups or whatever. I was always like the kid that was just like there on the side. I was always like the third wheel of my friend groups, and like growing up, looking back on it, I feel like a lot of those people that were pretending to be my friends weren't my friends because of the way they would talk about me behind my back and stuff. But yeah, I'd go to school, have a horrible day, come home, have a horrible day. But it wasn't always like that. Like, sometimes they really, really love each other. You know, sometimes they really, really cared about each other. Sometimes things were good. Sometimes they were happy. Like, but if they weren't happy, nobody in the house was gonna be happy. Nobody was allowed to be happy if they weren't happy. Like, and they weren't happy most days. But they did love us, you know, at the same time. But when you're a kid that's getting abused and you have siblings, sometimes I guess you take that out on your siblings. And one of the most selfless things you can do as an older sibling is breaking that and treating your sibling with respect, treating your sibling like they deserve to be treated. That's like one of the best ways, I think, that you can stop that, because it is a cycle that a lot of people don't talk about. It's a cycle of abuse that goes on in a lot of households, and it's not seen as serious, but like it does affect you. And then on top of that, they were beating each other's ass all the time. So, and even if they weren't doing it like right in front of our face very often, you could still hear, like, you could hear what was going on. And that was like, that was horrible to see. Like, you don't want your parents to be hitting each other and stuff like that when they think you go to sleep or whatever. But yeah, I moved a lot from like different states growing up. We moved like every 2 years or so, every 3 years maybe. By the time I went to high school, I had gone to 6 or 7 different high schools in one school year. And so I was able to get my credits reduced at my school, and that is why I was able to graduate on time, which I'm very proud of. Because in my high school years, I went through a fire, and that month, when I went back to school, I still turned in the most credits that anybody had turned in that month, and I was voted Student of the Month that month. And when I graduated, I was being filmed for a documentary. I think it's already out, but it might, I don't know, it might still not be out yet. I'm not sure. I'd have to check on that. But it's called La Lucha, and I'm a part of that documentary, and that was getting filmed while I graduated. And they actually filmed me walking across the stage, and I gave the senior speech that year, and that was one of the last things that my father ever got to attend before he passed away. Sorry. But that was one of the things he was actually able to attend. And it's cool because in the documentary you can actually see my dad in the audience and stuff. And knowing like the struggles he was going through at that time in his life, I'm really proud of him for being able to come out to my graduation. I know he really tried his best, and I appreciate that a lot, you know? But how does that look? What do you think? I don't know. But yeah, when I was getting filmed for the documentary, I was pretty proud of myself for going through with it. Cause like I was very nervous to actually go through with it. Cause I had done a previous thing, a different YouTube video for a shelter that I lived at, not anymore. And when I saw stupid long eyelashes getting in the way. But when I saw the video of me on YouTube that I did for my shelter, like, I almost wasn't sure if I was gonna go through with doing the documentary because, like, I thought I looked not great in that YouTube video. But I went through with it, and I'm very proud of myself and glad that I did, because it's actually something I'm pretty proud of, and it was a pretty cool moment for me. And now as an adult, as a child, I was homeless. But like, we weren't like sleeping in bushes homeless, you know? Like, we were homeless, but we weren't like sleeping in bushes homeless. Like, we weren't like sleeping at the park homeless. But as an adult, being homeless myself, I actually, I didn't have to be that homeless. I was shopping cart homeless, where I lived out of a shopping cart in Santa Monica and Venice, California. which that's a whole different video. I don't know if you guys want to listen to me talk and ramble on about that. God, they're so uneven. But I don't know if you guys want to listen to me ramble and talk about that or not. So let me know if you do. But when I was growing up, I wasn't that homeless. I was like shelter homeless, you know? Like, my parents always made sure we had at least somewhere to rest our head. And that's completely different than like the kind of homelessness I've had to do as an adult. Right now, I just got out of like living at a shelter, and now I'm living in like a motel. And we've been paying, me and my wife, we have been paying, me and my wife, she goes by Vampira Lux on YouTube. She and I have been actually paying for our motel room now for I think 3 months, and we've been paying other stuff, and like this is the first time in my life I've ever paid like bills, and I think I've been doing a pretty good job. Like, sure, I stress out every single day, and I freak out that I'm not gonna have enough money, but like it's like 100 times better than sleeping at a shelter, where like half the time you're not even gonna get no sleep, you know what I mean? Like, you're just not, because people stay up all night talking. And that's just like, you can't work a job and do it. It's like impossible. I'm just like so proud of where me and her have gotten, because this is like the first time in my life pretty much that I've really had a chance to like, just a chance, you know? My mom kicked me out when I was 17, and I lived with an ex-boyfriend. We'll call him Phil. I lived with my boyfriend at the time, Phil. And he was something else. Phil and me had known each other basically our whole lives, and we actually were not together when my mom kicked me out, but he didn't care, and Phil said that I could still come over, and I could still come, like, live in his apartment, but I technically wasn't allowed to be there for other reasons, and I was having mental health crises at the time, and so I basically ended up getting myself, like, kicked out of his place. But that time around, he really, I think he was trying his best to be a good person and be a nice person. He was trying his best for sure at that time to be the nicest person he could be, the most helpful person he could be. Because we dated when I was 14 as well, me and Phil. We dated, and you know, he definitely treated me better the second time around than he did the first time. Now, would I have grown to be who I am if I wouldn't have dated Phil? Probably not. Because I grew to know, like, more about myself through being with him, and more about like what I'm willing to put up with, what I'm not willing to put up with, and stuff like that. And I just couldn't imagine my life without me ever having him at least be a part of it at some point. Then I dated another guy. We'll call him Dave. Dave was a sweetheart. I don't have anything bad to say about him. He treated me great. He was very sweet, very kind. He really put his all into the relationship. He tried his best. But I ended up being not a great person to him and treating him badly. And I went back to Phil. And basically it's because I was unhappy with my sex life with Dave. And Phil was good in that one department. Even though my memory of him, how he treated me when I was 14 was not good, I still was a bad person. And I left Dave for Phil. And that's when all that ended up happening with my mother and stuff like that. Kicking me out at 17. And so I never really had a chance to have anything. But my wife, I ended up running into her while we were both homeless together. She was on the street and I just saw her. And that's how we ended up meeting and being together. Cause she had just left Florida, which is like a Republican state. And she had just left Florida to come live in Oregon because she thought the LGBT laws would be better. And so me and Vampira have been together for about 3 years now. And we're actually married, me and her. And coming to terms with finding out that I was a lesbian was also like a crazy journey and experience. And I could also talk about that if you wanted that in a separate video. But I've been yapping for the last, 23 minutes. And so I'm just gonna put on a lipstick. We're gonna call this a look. And then that's gonna be that on that. And that's the final look. I think it came out okay. I'm pretty happy with it. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. And please see me in the next one. Bye.